So today I wanted to talk to you about Pocket. Now, Pocket is one of those read it later apps. I'm sure you've heard of them. It's basically like a glorified bookmarking system, except it adds a little bit more functionality to help you get some more freedom in your life. And it also improves the reading experience by removing all the photos and all the ads and all that clutter. Basically, let's just say you find an article you want to read, but let's just say you're busy at the moment, you're working on something for work, for a client, or maybe you just don't have time right now to read the article. So Pocket allows you to save that article to read later when you have time, let's just say at the end of the night. And the whole point of Pocket is not just to read your articles later, but to take advantage of batching. The idea behind it is if you read these articles together, let's just say in a half hour to 1 hour period at the end of the night, you won't be task switching throughout the day because our brains actually can't do two things at once, believe it or not. Our brains just get really good at switching between things back and forth very, very quickly. And so when you find yourself multitasking, that's what your brain is actually doing behind the scenes. But studies show, and I've actually experienced this myself, when you switch between tasks or different projects or different fields throughout the day, it actually takes a little bit of time, sometimes as much as 15 or more minutes, to actually get your brain back into the groove that you are actually in. And so Pocket comes to the rescue. They're like, hey, you don't have to actually read this article right this second. You can read it a little bit later. You can read it tomorrow. You can read it during the weekend. And so you just click on that Chrome extension or that Firefox extension and you save that article for later, and you save some time and frustration and energy along the way. Now, for me personally, Pocket has helped out quite a bit along the way. I've been using it for a while now. I want to say since 2010, 11, somewhere in that area. But yeah, I'm crazy about the app. I love it. It's my favorite app that I almost never use. But that is an actual good thing. The less that you actually use Pocket, ironically, the better the experience is. Because you're batch reading those articles and you're only using Pocket maybe at most once a day, probably less than that. But also there's just a lot of articles out there that you think you want to read, but then you realize that they just wasted your time. So Pocket just gives you that escape to bookmark something just in case you need it later, but you probably don't. So it's just that nice extra layer of security just in case you lose something, and trying to find it in Google search again, well, that's going to be a little bit of a nightmare. And I am in fact paying for the Pocket Premium subscription, which means that Pocket saves all the text from the articles that I add to it just in case they ever get taken down in the future. So I have infinite, unlimited lifetime access to these articles, which means that I'll never ever lose these articles ever. I have them permanently saved thanks to Pocket. And you might be asking me, well, why can't I use Chrome bookmarks? Why can't I use another app? Well, the simple short answer is when you use other apps for bookmarks, especially things you want to read later, you have good intentions, but what ends up happening more often than not, you go to Chrome, for example, you click on that bookmarks folder, but then you're like, you know what? I got these other tabs open for YouTube and I have all these things I gotta do. And then you just get lost down that internet wormhole. Let me know in the comments how often you get sucked down that internet wormhole. It can happen to me sometimes, and thankfully Pocket helps mitigate that somewhat throughout the day. But yeah, and not to mention that Pocket cleans up the article for you so you can read it without ads, without all those photos. It just gives you the text in a clean, simple format. I might have mentioned that already, but Pocket is just awesome. I use it all the time. I love it. I highly recommend it if you're interested in trying to escape from being bogged down by all those articles and all those bookmarks that you want to catch up on. And if you just want to save things for later and you want to save things forever. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Check out Pocket. It's awesome. And yeah, hit me up on Twitter. I'm there. Let's talk about cool stuff, apps, productivity. Let's do it. All right, I'll see you in a future video.